Juggalos in recovery. Juggalos in recovery. Juggalos in recovery.
All right, we are good to go. So the story today, more or less, is just around. The gathering was just announced. It's going to be happening this July. Like, there's a shitload of people getting ready to, gear up and head out there, and you got 4 months to prepare. But the story I have today is kind of how I stayed sober for the last gathering that happened, and just, I don't know, maybe my story will help somebody else. But um, so this is gonna be my fourth gathering. I took some time off between them because the last gathering that I went to, I got fucked up. Um, I got into a fight out. This was in Peoria, Illinois, so it was the early days, and I just got destroyed by a bouncer outside. Ended up in the hospital, outside of a bar, and ended up in the hospital. And that was fucked up. It cost me a lot of money. It was just like a shitty situation. And for the next few years, I just was raising my family, and just getting my shit together. And I figured if I go to the gathering again, I'm just going to get fucked up again and bad shit's going to happen. And I had like this whole, like, I don't know, just the kind of reservation for going. Cause like when back in the day, like, first of all, like when you would go to these things, like ICP shows back in the day were like fucking banned everywhere, and they hated us and they didn't want us anywhere near their city. And that's not much different today, but we are a little bit more accepted in certain areas and whatnot. But so there was that. And then the other part was like, I didn't want to go and get fucked up and cost me a lot of money again and whatnot. So I just had, focused on my family. I was more of a functioning alcoholic or addict for forever. And, I just focused on my family for all those years. And then this last year, my son's 14. He really wanted to attend the gathering. He got into like ICP and that whole thing without any help from me. Honestly, I was really surprised, but he wanted to go. So, we geared up, we went. And the only reason why I went is because of the Juggalos in recovery. I knew I was online. I found Frank. I found other people that were going to go and be in this tent, and I had no idea what to expect. And so when I got there, that was the first place I stopped, was the Juggalos in recovery tent, and met up with Frank and Gilgamesh and a couple other people. I don't really remember their names, honestly, but that was the first place I stopped with my son. And we just enjoyed the gathering the entire time out. And I knew that I had a place to go where I would have support and help if I felt like I needed to use or whatever. And while I was there, I didn't really ever have that urge to like use, even though it was everywhere. What I did was, I focused on my kid and myself, and I focused on the activities that were there that didn't necessarily involve any of that. Um, there's the rides that are there, the different shows, the art contests and things like that you can do. That's what I focused on. And the fact that the guy was walking around with a sign, saying that he's got weed and all this other shit for sale, and you can buy alcohol anywhere, from just random people and stuff. Besides that aspect of it, it was kind of easy to stay away from all of that. And so, my thing is if you're planning on going to the gathering, there's plenty of options to stay away from that stuff. And it's actually a lot easier than people think these days. And there's a lot more acceptance and tolerance. But throughout the weekend or whatever I think it was an actual weekend. This year's going to be in the middle of the week, but throughout the weekend, I would stop by the tent every now and again and just say what's up to everybody. I attended one of the meetings that they had. They were having daily meetings around recovery, and I attended one, and I brought my son with me so he can see, that I'm not the only one out there struggling with this shit. And we were able to get through it, and it felt fucking awesome when I was done. And I didn't know it at the time, and I got it later on, but like you can get this dope ass like coin that I carry with me. I carried it in my wallet, but it's like I survived the gathering of the Juggalos sober, which to me is huge for anybody who can survive it, without getting fucked up. There were plenty of people in the tents and stuff that I saw later on just fucking obliterated out there, but that happens, man. I mean, it's never a perfect, system, and people are going to slip up and have their issues, right? But the point is just to keep going the next day. You still have 24 more hours after that to stay sober. So a slip up isn't always an absolute failure. But that's kind of my story. Like, it was just, I wouldn't have gone back if it wasn't for Juggalos in Recovery being there. There's hearted Juggalos in Recovery too. I probably fucked that name up, but I'm not too familiar with them overall, but I did stop by their camp and I said, what's up? And it was cool to see that there was two, maybe even the third camp out there of Juggalos just trying to stay sober, and so there is support. It's not like it was back in the day. I was really, really surprised at, I was just really surprised by that. Like, because back in the day, it was like, let's go get as fucked up as we possibly can. Let's try not to get like assaulted or tear gassed by the fucking local police and stuff. So definitely this year was different. This year we're planning to go. I fucking stay in hotels, right? Because I got my kid with me. We're gonna go a couple days early and just stay in our car for the 4th of July parking lot party. And I've got plans to stay sober, and I'm positive Juggalos in Recovery is going to be there for me. So Frank is probably working that out somewhere. So with that, I will open it up. Do y'all got any thoughts or anything you want to share around that?
Well, I only made it to the one gathering 2 years ago, and I only stayed sober on the last day of it. I spent the whole time in the parking lot getting messed up. And I said I wanted to go to the whole gathering once the gates opened up sober, but I ended up getting high, a lot of psychedelics for the first 2 days. It wasn't until the last day where I was able to actually enjoy it sober. I tried finding Juggalos in Recovery a couple times. I had trouble finding the tent. I don't think they actually had a tent that year. They had a tent last year. But I plan on trying to get to the gathering this year with my brother, who's also in recovery. And if we make it there, we plan on meeting all you guys in person. But just a big thing of if we're going to make it, that's a long ways away.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I'm not sure about years past, but this last year they definitely had a tent right up front, so like you can just see it as you're walking in, which I think is a dope spot for it. I mean, even if you just have that like seed planted where you think you might need help, that fucking tent was there right at the beginning. So I hope they can do that again. But the other ones were buried kind of in the mix of people. You had to kind of go up like the food place and walk past, but you'd see like a banner that they had and stuff. So yeah, I really hope they do, man. And I hope you can make it for sure. Cause yeah, it is a long way. I'm coming from the Seattle area and fucking plane tickets. Cause
I made it, man.
Yeah.
After the first one I went to, I was in such a positive space and like knocking shit out, owning everything for that year. And then I just fucking fell apart in October of last year. I'm like, fuck, I really should have gone to the last gathering. It would have been right at the perfect time. Fucking re-upped on that carnival magic. Definitely. I've been in a pretty negative space lately. And that's why I just got to make sure I make it to the gathering this year. No matter how homeless I may be or wherever. I know there's one place I belong. I'm always home at the gathering.
Hell yeah, definitely. And you know, whether you drive or fly, man, you know, you can find somebody like there's even a Facebook page for getting rides if you need to get a ride from people. And you know, I'd probably be careful just because if you're trying to stay sober, they might not be, you know what I mean? So it's definitely, man. And I think you know, like you said, you're in this negative space. I think that um personally, I think that you would probably, if you can get there and make it through sober, man, once you're done, you're gonna feel fucking amazing about it. I did last year. I felt really good about, you know, actually making it through. Um, so kind of the other sad kind of story or situation that I saw when I was there is that there was a bunch of like people who brought their kids, like young children. Like my kid's a teenager, which wouldn't make it any less horrible if I had gotten fucked up and left him on his own. But these people, like, you know, there was like, I don't even know, 5, 7 year olds running around on their own. Their parents are fucked up in their tent or whatever. And, you know, that shit's fucked up. Like, if you're going to go and you don't think you can, don't bring your kid. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not gearing that towards you or anything, just in general. If people are listening, just leave your kid at home or don't, you know, bring him at all because, yeah,
Yeah,
that
it's
shit
not
was
really a
sad.
place for kids or pets.
Right. The pet thing too. This guy had his dog, like a little dachshund or whatever the fuck those are called, the little like weeder looking dogs in his arms, and he's standing on the side of the stage during Green Jello. And I didn't think that was, you know, personally what I would do with my dog, but
Oh, he actually got the dog past the gates. When I went, you
yeah,
weren't allowed to have the dog anywhere in the gates. People that brought their dogs had to stay in the parking lots, like take turns going to shows.
no, no, there was fucking animals everywhere, man. Uh, yeah, a dude walking around with his dog. It was actually a really nice dog, petting him and stuff as he walked by a couple of times. But yeah, man, it's a free for all. They bring all kinds of shit in. Like you can just sneak in the gate too. You don't even have to buy a ticket. So
Oh, they only checked my wristband like once in the whole 3 days I was there. I was thinking that I was like, if I just make it to the gathering, I bet I could still sneak in for a show or two.
yeah, for
The
sure.
big one though is making it all the way across the country. That's a ways away from California.
Yeah, man. I'm coming from Seattle and plane tickets are fucking expensive and you know, it is what it is. Like I could drive, but then if you break down, you know, just you're fucked out all that money, and I don't know. So just for me, it's worth it to cough up the money and fly out there. But if I wasn't coming from so far away, I would definitely drive. Um, like it might as well be New York we're going to because that's how far it is, you know. Well, yeah, man, I'm stoked. I'm excited. I'm really fucking excited for this year. I'm looking forward to coming to. I'm gonna try to attend more meetings at this one. I did the one meeting, and it was dope. You know, but we were trying to do all sorts of other stuff at the same time. So if I could join more meetings this time around, I'm definitely gonna. But
I'm hoping I
so
can collect I'm hoping I can get the money to get them. I'm hoping I can get the money to be able to go to the gathering. I've never been.
yeah, man, that'd be dope. So I don't know. So this is like what I'm doing right now, like on top of my like regular job. Like my kid and myself are going out and we have a small community though, so it's a little bit easier. But like I put an ad out on Facebook, and I'm cleaning people's decks off because like up here in the Northwest, it's like moldy as shit like everywhere. So people are desperate to get their stuff like power washed. So like I'm doing like power washing, mowing yards, like, and I'm just dumping all that money into a jar, like one of those big ass fucking water jars, you know, and I'm just gonna try to fill
Mm,
that bitch up. Um,
yeah.
you know, so I don't know, maybe that's an idea, but yeah, it's definitely all you got to do is get there, you know, and then from there the homies will have you covered. So, but what was I gonna say? I had another thought there, but yeah, it's definitely a struggle. But if you can make it there, man, there's people there that'll help. And oh, part of what I did too when I was there, you know, focusing on those things that kept me sober, you know, those activities that are, you know, don't involve alcohol and stuff. I went to the Walmart and I bought like 40 of those 30-gallon trash bags or whatever they were, like just a giant box of trash bags, and I was handing those bitches out to people and cleaning up after like the shows, because like that shit gets, people just destroy the place and they don't really clean it up. So having like an army of people with trash bags, just putting as much as they can into them, it helped, and it made me like feel good about it. And that's part of like my recovery, is the AA way is, doing service for your like fellow humans or whatever. So that was part of my service that weekend, was cleaning up. I'll probably do the same thing this year and maybe do a little bit of a better job, like, because I just kind of ditched some bags with people and hope that they would do it, but yeah.
Day one, I walked around all over the gathering picking up trash and cigarette butts and everything. And people, they were pretty stoked on it, actually. I had a bunch of people buying me food and giving me all kinds of stuff. You just watch me. I was high as hell, and I just got in this trip if I had to clean everything. So I kept walking around the whole time, just cleaning everything, picking everything up. That was the way the acid was doing me that day. But
Yeah,
it was neat. People were, buying me food and hooking me up. I'm really thankful of it.
Hell yeah. Yeah, it's definitely a good way to, that's the other thing too. Like there's always ways to get food and stuff, like, if you just make it there, you'll be fed, and, people will share their campsites and stuff with you to a point, and, yeah, it's good. It's definitely, I don't know, man, I'm so stoked about it. The money aspect, because like I said, I do the plane and the hotel and stuff's going to fucking hurt me pretty bad, but that's why I'm doing the work. Like already for the work that I got lined up, for this just first round, I think I've got $1,000 that'll pay for like my hotel and most of the plane trip out there, just doing those extra odds and ends. So I don't know if that's an idea for anybody out there. Just start putting that money in a fucking jar, and
I have zero money. I'm waiting on my disability again. Fuck, they cut me off. They cut me off the month I went to the gathering, actually, was the time that I didn't have any money. I just ended up defrauding on my bank account, took out a loan for like $250 and never paid it back because I never got my disability again.
Oh, man.
So I got my ticket, was just fucking over Bank of America and taking out a loan in one of those cash advance places and then just never fucking repaying it.
Yeah, you got to do what you got to do, I mean.
If I get my disability finally, I'm definitely going to put aside like $1,000 for my brother and I to go drive there.
Hell yeah. Yeah, and even renting a car, like if you don't have a reliable car, like renting one if you can, like that's a couple $100, I think, for 4 or 5, maybe it's like $400 or $500 for like the entire time. I don't know, but yeah, definitely worth it. All right, looks like it's just me and you.
Everybody balanced out.
Yeah, so with that, I mean, we're about a half hour into the meeting and it doesn't look like too many other people are going to show up. So I'm going to just wrap this bad boy up. I don't know how accurate this Facebook is. If you guys are watching live on Facebook, I hope you got something out of the meeting today. The word I would say to everybody who's watching and listening is that if you're afraid to come to the gathering because you're trying to get sober, it's definitely a valid fear, but there are avenues and ways, for people to help you and while you're there. So definitely come see me. I'll have my Juggalos and Recovery jersey on. I'll be there, in these meetings and stuff. So, yeah, it looks like this live shit isn't working for some reason.
I think I'm going to bounce out. I'm going to run over and see what my brother's up to.
No worries, man. Yeah.
Over that snow's up to my freaking waist. I had to go out there and feed the chickens this morning.